Okay, so just say fonts, right, and make it a bit larger font. I guess right here, 13. How about this? Okay, so hopefully that is looking a little better, right? And with my fingers crossed, I'm just going to save everything and just go to the project and say clean and build, just to make sure that everything can be built. Okay, and then it seems to be going all right, but I need to see my output, right, just to make sure that everything is fine. Okay, so I guess I can start minimizing it, and then we try running it. Now I want you to notice that there is a main method included in this Swing demo class that I'm trying to put together. So when I run it, the wizard for the debugging environment basically says, would you like to use this class, right, for your main class? And I just say yes, and here we go. So we see a graphical user interface form window that says JFrame is me, right? And it also has a button that says hello. And guess what? By default, notice if I try clicking this button is kind of crazy. It occupies the entire window, right? It just kind of snaps itself into the available area inside this JFrame, as you already know, right? And it says, oh, I don't know what else to do but take all of the space, okay? And so it doesn't do when I click it, and only just like blinks a little bit, but that's the whole thing. Okay. And by the way, when I close it, it's still, is it still running? Yeah, it's still running. So I need to stop it, I guess, right? So I need to stop it. So this is a huge drawback or setback for me, is that, let me just say it here, that when I open this window, right? When I open this window, I found a way to like make this display, right? The window with the title and everything. And it had this X button, the usual way to close a window, right? And I tried clicking, using my mouse, trying to click it. And the window disappeared, right? So the window essentially was gone, was no longer visible. However, the application was still running. I just noticed it. And that's like something wrong with that. If that window closed, I was expecting this application to go away, but it didn't. So it's problematic. It's something that we need to discuss. Okay. Now, all right. So let's analyze the actual code and what is going on. So let's where is my print screen? Just print this, hopefully. How do I print my screen here? I think it's this way. It's different on every laptop, so here. Okay, good enough. All right, so this is what I want. Just clean this up a little bit. And so let's talk about this. So number one, we have our Java virtual machine, right? So Java virtual machine is up and running, it's available, and somehow this entire NetBeans environment, when I click this button to run the application, finds Java virtual machine and says, go ahead, execute this Java program. Apparently it was able to compile this program, convert it into some kind of Java bytecode, binary form, and it says to Java virtual machine, go ahead, run that program. Okay, so Java virtual machine, right, finds that we have this main entry point. So essentially we come in here and the program begins to execute right here. It says, oh, there's main, and that's where the program will begin to execute. And so what it does on the next line, it does something really strange, right? Nothing that we have seen before. If you haven't seen Swing, if you just use a console application, normally you say system out, print line, welcome, and then start interacting with the user. So you basically directly interact with the window. Here, what it says, Swing utilities invoke later. Okay, Swing utilities invoke later. It means that it basically there is a queue over here, like a queue inside Java Virtual Machine, which is capable of accumulating requests and then executing them. And what we do is, let's create new runnable, right? Runnable is component of Java library. And runnable, what runnable does, it creates an object. Remember, new always creates something in Java, new object, and so this object is created. And its type is like runnable. Okay? A runnable type of object. And we say that, hey, runnable, you have a method over there, right? You have a method over there by definition that's called a run. Okay? Run. Runnable run. And guess what? What we're asking you to do is just remember that your version of run inside this box should be this, create and show GUI. Now, what is create and show GUI? Create and show GUI is this part of our program right here. It is a static method in our Java program, which is basically just like main, okay? And it does something that we would normally write in main. But what we do instead is that we're asking this run, right here, just saying this version of run should invoke this thing. But remember, there is no execution. All we do so far is just say Swing utilities invoke this later. When? We don't know. When you have a chance. And this is what happens next. Okay, I'm switching maybe to like a red color here to highlight what's going on. Java Virtual Machine was able to invoke our program just like this, and we were given a thread. We will say like we'll say main thread of execution. Main thread of execution. What it means is that a thread is basically something that our CPU can understand. Thread of, like, for instance, if you have your laptop with like 4-core CPU, you can run truly multiple executions at the same time because you have four CPUs built into that laptop, right? So each thread of execution is called thread of execution in runtime environment. However, Java requires that when we start a window like this, that all interaction with this window must take place on a different thread of execution. Kind of strange, right? But nevertheless, let's talk about this. And that separate thread of execution is going now truly switching to red color, is that it's called, compared to the main thread of execution that our program was given by default, inside Java Virtual Machine, right? So this is like a separation line between what we do here and Java Virtual Machine, right? There's a different thread of execution called event dispatch thread. Okay, event dispatch thread. And we say that we just read in the book that this window, where is my window, by the way? Right here. It has to run on that special thread of execution called event dispatch thread. Okay? And by placing, like when we say swing utilities invoke later, it's basically asking Java Virtual Machine, why don't you use event dispatch thread to enter this box and start executing this run on this event dispatch thread, and enter here and begin to execute this code on the event dispatch thread. So this trick to say swing utilities invoke later is simply to make sure that what happens here is done on this event dispatch thread as Java specification says, just Java API documentation for Swing component says you cannot take your own main thread of execution and start doing Swing programming on it. No, you have to switch over to event dispatch thread. And guess what? This event dispatch thread executes what? First of all, it says new frame. Well, naturally, this is some kind of window, right? This, where's my application? Right here, right? So this very window, right? It's represented by JFrame, and it says let's make this new frame. Then set bounds, set some pixel, like 2D pixel coordinates and width and height for the window. And it says let's have also a button and make sure that frame, the content of the frame gets this button, right? So far, I don't know where to draw this. I'll just use this space. So we create a window box, right? New window, this JFrame, and then we create a button object, right? And then somehow we associate this box with this box, and then we say set visible, right? So this is an instance of JFrame. This is an instance of JButton right here. They're connected together by saying frame, your content will include this button, and apparently it's all invisible, and when we say set visible, we suddenly display this, okay? And what happens next? Apparently this event dispatch thread knows how to draw this window with the button, with the word hello in it, and then with the title bar for the window, right? And there is nothing else to do, because guess what? This window could stay here for 10 minutes, an hour, a month, if the system is still running for a month, right? Nothing, absolutely nothing happens. So what it means that this event dispatch thread that did all of this for us actually goes back, right? Let me switch back to red color so you can see that this right? This event dispatch thread, after doing all of this for us, it just goes right back and goes back to sleep and says, okay, I'm done. You asked me to do this. I did this, and I'm going back to sleep. I'm not going to waste any more CPU cycles for you. I'm just going to wait for something to happen. And guess what? The user clicks the button, right? So if I use my regular mouse button here, the user can click a button. So something indeed does happen inside this window, right? So something indeed does happen inside the window. So as it's happening, of course, the trick is that who gets these click notifications? Java Virtual Machine, right? So when we have a click, right, I'll use like maybe a blue color here, right? So we have a click. So user clicks, and click normally has a window coordinates, some kind of window coordinates like 400, 500, whatever X and Y coordinate of that click is. And Java Virtual Machine gets notification. Java Virtual Machine has a list of windows and finds that who's supposed to receive this click, this window. Okay, and what it does, it creates another box like this, okay, with its own, this is also going to be like a version of runnable, right, with its own version of run right there, right. So there's its own version of run right here, and what it does, it does the following. It says, you know, I begin to realize that this button is supposed to respond to this. But we haven't written any code for the actual click. We haven't connected our button to any of our own code. So what happens is that this button just shows that it's been clicked, like visual appearance changes as I'm clicking it right there, right? But really nothing happens in terms of our program because we haven't written any code for it, right? So it just visually appears to be clicked right there. Right, and so this is how it organized. And I'm actually jumping ahead of myself because what happens is also, I would like to show you, is that as soon as you see that we said invoke later, and this runnable with create and show GUI method given to this run method, as soon as this is executed by the event dispatch thread, we say, you know, this element of the queue gets consumed. Well, guess what? This object simply is thrown out of memory, disappears. Okay? It's let me just switch to a quicker way of destroying it, just like this, right? So it just disappears. It's consumed, its memory is gone, everything is gone, it did what it was supposed to do. Okay? And so, but then, as the mouse click and Java Virtual Machine places new object in the queue, again, the event dispatch thread, that very special thread that services the Windows, gets, you know, it wakes up, let me switch back to my drawing mode, right? It invokes, wakes up, and it actually makes this call, and then comes back, and then goes back to sleep, okay? And nothing happens again, right? So this is this very special type of thing that we deal with. And so Java Virtual Machine, of course, understands, right? It understands that basically, if I clear this up a little bit one more time, right? And this object now is also consumed because the click is now gone. So I can clear this up. Okay, so let's just say that in Swing, right? In Swing, which is Java library, any interaction with user must take place place on event dispatch thread, EDT. Now, interestingly, from the perspective of already a running application like this is not a big challenge, because simply, when someone clicks this button, automatically Java Virtual Machine makes sure that execution of this button click happens on that event dispatch thread, right? But sometimes in our code, we have to write something special, just like this right here, right? This main version of main was very special, that we had to place this runnable object, right? This runnable object in the event dispatch thread queue to make sure that the code that we're supplying gets invoked on that event dispatch thread. All right. So these are a few observations, and I think this is all as much as we can afford today. But I'm giving you some clues regarding like what gets essentially. This is going to be our high level organization of a program that does GUI for us, displays the GUI interface. So soon enough, we're going to switch over to using some wizards, but I would like you to be aware of these internal workings of this GUI model that we have to essentially program in order to make Java display and correctly use this graphical user interface. So obviously this is to be continued, but this is today our overview, and this is where we stand today. So I will see you guys next week. Have a good weekend.